Welcome back to our channel, World Coins History. As you knew that old is gold, but these rare $quarter coins that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Today, we are diving deep into a coin that might be hiding in your pocket change, the 1965 United States quarter dollar. At first glance, it may look ordinary, just another quarter. But don't let that fool you. This coin has a fascinating story, one of transition, mystery, and surprising value. If you're a coin collector or even just a casual coin hunter, this is one video you'll want to watch until the very end. Let's go back to 1965, a year of major change in American coinage. Due to the rising cost of silver, the U.S. Mint made a bold move. They stopped using 90% silver in dimes and quarters. That means the 1964 quarter was the last of the silver era, and 1965 marked the beginning of the new copper-nickel clad quarters, the ones we still use today. But here's where things get very interesting. While the official records say all 1965 quarters were struck on the new clad planchets, some rare examples slipped through the cracks. A small number of 1,965 quarters were accidentally struck on leftover 1964 silver planchets. These rare mint errors are what collectors dream of: the wrong metal, the wrong year, and the perfect storm for a high-value coin. Now, how can you tell the difference? A regular 1965 quarter will weigh about 5.67 grams and have a copper core visible from the side. But if you happen to find one that weighs around 6.25 grams and lacks that copper edge, you might be holding a silver planchet error. That's when your heart starts racing, because that coin could be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars. But the excitement doesn't stop there. Some 1965 quarters also have striking errors that drive collectors wild, like double dies, off-center strikes, or coins struck on dime planchets. There are even rumors of transitional errors struck with 1964 dies. These are the kinds of finds that keep the coin hunting community on its toes, checking every quarter with a magnifying glass and a scale. Now, let's talk numbers. What is a 1965 quarter really worth? A regular, circulated 1965 quarter is usually worth just face value, 25 cents. But if it's in uncirculated or mint condition, it could fetch anywhere from $1 to $15 depending on the grade and luster. But here's where it gets jaw-dropping. In recent years, a 1965 quarter struck on a silver planchet sold at auction for over $7,000. Yes, $7,000. Another with a major off-center error crossed the block for more than $2,000. And if you happen to find a high-grade specimen with sharp details and no wear, certified by a grading service like PCGS or NGC, you're looking at a coin that could bring in hundreds. That's why collectors are obsessed with this coin. Not just because of its history, but because of the mystery behind it. Every 1965 quarter you come across could be a hidden treasure. It's a coin that reminds us all, sometimes the most ordinary-looking objects can hold extraordinary secrets. So the next time you get change from a store, take a moment. Look at your quarters. Check the date. Feel the weight. Examine the edges. Because who knows? You might be holding a small piece of American coin history, worth more than you ever imagined. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1965 quarter, make sure to like, subscribe, and tap the bell for more videos on rare and valuable coins that could be sitting in your pocket right now. Top 2. We are uncovering the hidden secrets of the 1972 United States quarter dollar, a coin that might look completely ordinary, but don't be fooled, some of these quarters are far from common. Whether you're a collector, a curious treasure hunter, or just someone who loves money with a story, this is one of those coins you absolutely need to know about. Let's start with what makes the 1972 quarter special. At first glance, it's your typical Washington quarter. It features George Washington on the obverse, and the eagle reverse design that had been in use since 1932. It was struck in copper-nickel clad, just like every quarter from 1965 onward. So you might ask, what's the big deal? Here's where it gets exciting. The 1972 quarter is known for several fascinating mint errors and varieties that can dramatically increase its value. Some of these errors were accidental, some are extremely rare, and a few are still being discovered by collectors today. And the best part? These valuable coins could be hiding in your change right now. One of the most talked about errors on the 1972 quarter is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin isn't properly aligned in the press and part of the design is missing. The more off-center the strike, the more valuable the coin, especially if the date is still visible. These can sell for impressive amounts depending on how dramatic the error is. Another fascinating error is the double die obverse, where the details of Washington's face, the word liberty, or the date appear slightly doubled. These doubling effects can sometimes be subtle, but when they're strong, collectors are willing to pay big money for them. There are also known examples of clipped planchets, where a portion of the coin is literally missing due to a miscut. And don't forget about coins struck on the wrong planchet, like a quarter struck on a nickel or a foreign coin planchet. These rare mistakes are extremely valuable and highly sought after by serious collectors, but even without an error, some 1972 quarters can still bring in higher value. That's because collectors also look for coins in exceptional condition. If you find a 1972 quarter that has never been circulated, with sharp details, full mint luster, and no wear, that's what's called a mint state coin. And depending on how perfect it is, it could be worth far more than 25 cents. Now here's something many people don't realize. There are number 1972 quarters with mint marks from San Francisco or Denver in circulation. That's because in 1972, only the Philadelphia Mint released quarters for general use, and those didn't carry a mint mark. However, proof versions were made in San Francisco, and if you find a 1972 S-proof quarter, especially one in flawless condition, it's a nice addition to any collection. So what is a 1972 quarter worth in today's market? A regular 1972 quarter from circulation is usually worth its face value, just 25 cents. But if you have one in uncirculated condition, it can be worth between $2 and $5. A high-grade mint state example, especially one graded MS 65 or higher, can sell for $20 to $40 depending on eye appeal. Now let's talk about the big money. A 1972 quarter with a strong double die error has sold at auction for over $1,500. Another with a dramatic off-center strike brought in nearly $900. And a rare coin struck on the wrong planchet, a nickel, for example, fetched more than $2,000 at a major coin auction. These prices are real. These coins are out there. And the thrill of finding one is what makes coin collecting such an exciting journey. Whether you're searching through rolls, checking your change, or building a serious collection, the 1972 quarter is a coin you should never overlook. Top 3. We are unlocking the mystery behind a coin that many people overlook, the 1971 United States quarter dollar. At first glance, it might seem like just another piece of pocket change, but hidden among these coins are some rare varieties and shocking errors that could be worth far more than 25 cents. If you're a coin collector, a change checker, or just someone with an eye for hidden treasures, stay with us, because this is one coin that could surprise you. Let's rewind to the year 1971. The US Mint was producing hundreds of millions of quarters, most of them at the Philadelphia and Denver mints. The 1971 quarter continued the same Washington design that had been around since 1932. But while the design stayed the same, not every coin came out the same. Some were flawed, some were exceptional, and some became valuable collector's items. Here's what makes the 1971 quarter so fascinating. First, this coin was part of the modern copper-nickel clad era. That means no silver, but don't let that discourage you. What truly makes this coin valuable is not the metal, it's the mistakes. That's right, mint errors and rare varieties are the secret to unlocking real value in the 1971 quarter. One of the most sought-after errors is the off-center strike. These are coins where the design is not properly centered, sometimes just a little off, sometimes drastically. If the date is still visible, the value climbs fast. The more dramatic the error, the more collectors will pay. Another highly collectible type is the double die quarter. Imagine seeing two images where there should only be one. That's what happens when the die strikes the coin more than once slightly out of line. Some 1,971 quarters show signs of doubling on the word liberty, the motto, "In God We Trust," or even on the date itself. These errors can be hard to spot, but they're worth the hunt. Then there are the clipped planchet errors, coins with a portion of the metal literally missing. These mistakes happen during the blanking process and are easily visible to the naked eye. A good clipped planchet on a 1971 quarter is always an exciting find, but the real jackpot? That's when a 1971 quarter is struck on the wrong planchet, like a dime or foreign coin. These rare mistakes are some of the most valuable, and they stand out by weight, size, or color. Even without an error. A 1971 quarter in mint condition, that's one with no wear, sharp details, and full luster, can command a premium. Collectors are always looking for well-struck examples, especially those graded MS 65 or higher by PCGS or NGC. A coin like that might look common, but it's far from it in the collector's world. Now, here's what you really want to know: what is a 1971 quarter actually worth? A regular 1971 quarter that's been in circulation is typically worth just face value, 25 cents. However, if it's in uncirculated condition, you could be looking at anywhere from $5 to $15 depending on the grade and eye appeal. Now let's talk rare. A 1971 quarter with a strong off-center strike has sold for over $300 at auction. A double die variety in high grade reached nearly $600. And an extremely rare 1971 quarter struck on a dime planchet, yes, a wrong metal error, was auctioned off for more than $1,200. These numbers are real. These coins are out there. And they're being found by collectors who know what to look for. So the next time you get a quarter in your change, check that date, 1971. Look for errors, inspect the condition, and pay attention to weight and details. You might just discover a valuable coin hiding in plain sight. Top 4, we are taking a closer look at a coin that many people have seen, spent, or even ignored, the 1997 United States quarter dollar. But what if we told you that some of these coins, still found in everyday pocket change, are actually worth far more than just 25 cents? If you're a coin collector, or even just a casual change checker, this is a coin you'll want to keep an eye out for, because a simple mistake at the mint could turn this everyday quarter into a valuable collectible. Let's start with the basics. The 1997 quarter features the familiar image of George Washington on the front, and the classic eagle reverse, the last of its kind before the State Quarters series began in 1999. It was struck in copper nickel clad and produced at two major U.S. mints, Philadelphia, no mint mark, and Denver, marked with a D. On the surface, this coin might not seem rare, but that's where the story gets interesting. While billions of 1997 quarters were produced, making them common in circulation, it's the rare errors and unusual variations that give certain examples real value. One of the most talked about types is the double die error, especially those affecting the obverse. That means you might see slight doubling in the lettering, numbers, or even parts of Washington's portrait. These errors can be subtle, but a strong double die can command a surprising premium. Another exciting variety to watch for is the off-center strike. In these cases, the coin isn't properly aligned in the press, and part of the design is missing. If the date is still visible, these coins are extremely desirable among collectors. A 1997 quarter struck 10% to 50% off-center can easily catch a collector's eye and demand solid prices, but there's more. Some 1997 quarters have been discovered with clipped planchets, where a portion of the coin is missing, often due to a misfeed during the blanking process. These are very visually striking and highly collectible, and then there are the ultra-rare cases where a 1997 quarter was struck on the wrong planchet, like a 5-cent blank or even a foreign coin blank. These errors are not just rare, they're dramatic, and they can fetch big money at auction. Condition also plays a major role in value. If you find a 1997 quarter in mint state condition, with full luster, no wear, and possibly what's called full strike, it could be worth more than you think. Coins graded MS 65 or higher by professional services like PCGS or NGC are always in demand. Now, let's get down to real numbers. What are these coins actually worth? A regular 1997 quarter from circulation, with no errors, is generally worth face value, just 25 cents. However, in uncirculated condition, these coins can bring in between $3 and $10, depending on the grade. Now for the rare ones. A 1997 quarter with a major off-center strike recently sold for over $150. A confirmed double die error in high mint state condition reached nearly $300. And a stunning error where a 1997 quarter was struck on a 5-cent planchet, yes, a nickel blank, sold at auction for more than $1,200, and that's why collectors are always checking their change. Because even a coin from 1997, a year not too long ago, can still hold big surprises if you know what to look for. So the next time you get a quarter, don't just spend it. Take a second to flip it over. Look closely. Check the date. You might just discover a hidden gem worth far more than 25 cents. Top 5, and last rare coin, we are diving into the world of the 1978 United States quarter dollar, a coin that's been passed around millions of times over the years, dropped into vending machines, and forgotten in change jars. But what if one of those coins in your pocket or your old coin jar could be worth far more than just 25 cents? What if a simple mistake at the mint turned this ordinary-looking coin into a rare collectible? This is where the story of the 1978 quarter gets fascinating. The obverse features George Washington, just like every quarter since 1932, and the reverse carries the traditional eagle design, the last few years before the U.S. Mint introduced the state quarters in 1999. The 1978 quarter was struck at both the Philadelphia Mint, with no mint mark, and the Denver Mint, which carries the D mint mark. These coins were made using a copper-nickel clad composition, no silver here, but that doesn't mean they can't be valuable. What makes the 1978 quarter truly interesting to collectors are the rare errors and unusual minting mistakes that slipped through quality control and made it into circulation. One of the most valuable errors you can find on a 1978 quarter is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin blank isn't properly centered under the die, causing part of the design to be missing. The more off-center the strike, especially if the date is still fully visible, the more valuable the coin becomes. These coins are eye-catching and always in demand. Another major variety to look out for is the double die error, where part of the design, usually the text or the date, appears doubled. While not many dramatic double dies are confirmed for 1978 quarters, subtle doubling still draws interest, and some examples can go for a premium. Collectors also chase down clipped planchet errors, where a portion of the coin is actually missing due to a misfeed in the minting process. These 1978 clipped quarters are fairly scarce and can command solid prices, depending on how clean and visible the clip is. And then there's the jackpot, wrong planchet strikes. Imagine finding a 1978 quarter that was accidentally struck on a dime blank or even a foreign coin planchet. These rare errors don't happen often, but when they do, they cause a stir in the coin collecting world and can sell for impressive amounts. But rarity isn't always about errors. Even a regular 1978 quarter can carry value if it's in high-grade mint state condition. We're talking about coins that have never been in circulation, with flawless surfaces, no wear, and full mint luster. Collectors will pay a premium for these well-preserved pieces, especially those certified and graded MS 65 or higher by PCGS or NGC.SO. What are these 1978 quarters really worth? Let's talk real numbers. A typical 1978 quarter found in your change is usually only worth its face value, 25 cents. However, if you come across a mint state uncirculated example, the value can rise to $5 to $15, depending on its condition and grading. Now let's look at rare errors and auction results. A 1978 quarter with a dramatic off-center strike sold at auction for over $350. A coin struck on a dime planchet, meaning it's smaller and thinner, sold for more than $1,000. And a nearly perfect high-grade 1978 D quarter, graded MS 67 by PCGS, fetched over $400 due to its rarity in such pristine condition. These are real prices, real sales, and real opportunities hiding in plain sight. So the next time you see a 1978 quarter in your change, don't rush to spend it. Take a closer look. Check the date, inspect the strike, look for unusual shapes, off-centering, or doubling. What looks like an ordinary coin could be a rare piece of US mint history worth far more than anyone would expect. Thanks for watching, and if you love coins, collecting, or just discovering hidden treasures in everyday life, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next rare coin that could be sitting in your pocket right now. Happy coin hunting, and who knows, maybe your 1978 quarter is the next big find.